everybody. Missing you guys. Hoping you're doing really well and staying healthy during our quarantine. I'm going to do a quick little mat series here that involves using some straps that I have attached to my banister here to sort of simulate the work that we would do on a reformer. And then I also have some little hand weights here. These are 2 pounds. You can use soup cans, or if you don't have weights or you don't want to use weights, you don't have to use anything. And some of the exercises I'll do would be sort of reformer only exercises that can be transferred to mat. And some of them are traditional mat exercises. I'm going to put my weights here on the side, and I'm going to start with something that we call footwork. So if you're not familiar with the reformer exercises, this is one that you're going to learn today. It's sort of an advancement for abs. Lay down on your back. Okay, find your neutral pelvis, which means that when you're lying down, that the hips and the ribs are sort of level, and then your pubic bone and the front of your hips are in the same plane. So I don't want to arch my back, and I don't want to press my back into the mat here. I just want to let those be on the same area. If you make that little triangle with your fingers and you put your fingers and your hands right on your hips, that's your neutral pelvis. We want to try to find that neutral, keep it there. I'm going to press my arms into the mat, bring my legs up to 90 degrees here. Now if I were lying on my reformer, this would be, my toes would be on the foot bar here. But I don't have my reformer, so I'm going to have my imaginary reformer here. I want you to rise up to your shoulder points, and then I'm going to have you lift your arms up here, and we're going to press the legs out and pull them in as if I were pushing my foot bar away. This is a big advancement for the abdominals, so if you don't want to start doing this, or if you just want to do one leg at a time, you can. And then bring it in. I'm going to put my head down. I'm going to bring my toes over my foot bar, my imaginary foot bar, making my little perch, reach my arms up, rise back up again, and then press out, pushing my imaginary foot bar away. I'm inhaling out, exhaling in. 3 more. 2 more. 1 more. And then come back down, put your head down. Now flex your feet, squeeze your knees together. I'm pulling my toes back towards my knees to create some dorsiflexion. Reach back out, and now feel like you're pushing your heels against that imaginary foot bar. This is all optional. 1 more. And then in, and then the last one is something that we call tendon stretch. So if you can't see my feet, I'm going to be pointing and flexing my feet, but I'm going to do that with my legs straight. So that's going to be a big advancement in the abdominals, and it's totally fine to do it right here. This is still nice plantar flexion and dorsiflexion. So I'm going to start in my plantar flexion. I'm going to rise up, lengthen my arms out, lengthen my legs out, and then do that same flexing and pointing, just with my legs extended. Good. And then pull it in. Give yourself a little hug. Of course, all of those are totally fine to do with your head down. If you have your hand weights and you want to reach your hands out here for us to start, we're going to start doing our hundreds, you can do that. I'm going to reach my hands into my straps here. I'm going to make sure that I'm in the middle, that my straps are in the middle. Reach my arms out, rise up to my shoulder points, and start to pulse and breathe. Inhaling for 5 and exhaling for 5. Keep stretching those arms as long as you can. My knees and my feet are squeezing together. And then if you want to advance that, you can lengthen your legs out. Inhaling for 5 and exhaling. If it bothers your neck, you can put your head down. And then if you feel like you could finish with your head up, bring your head back up. 2 more. And then in we go. Okay, I'm going to put my straps out of the way and grab my hand weights for what is a traditional mat exercise, roll-ups. Open the arms out behind you. My arms are shoulder width apart. My legs are together in my Pilates stance. I'm going to reach my arms to the ceiling and heel myself to come up and over. And then exhale, roll back, articulating the spine back. Exhale. Try to peel up and over. Those weights will help you a little bit. They actually help to lift you, and it's okay to bend your knees if you need to modify and you need to grab behind your knees as you come up. You can certainly do that. Let's do 2 more. Exhale. Try to linger in the waistband there. And slowly roll back to articulate back into the mat. 1 more time. And back. So I have 2 options for single leg circles here. I can either keep my hands on my weights here and just extend my leg and do my single leg circles without my strap, or I can put my foot in the strap here. So I'll do it one on one side and one on the other, with and without the strap. I'm pressing my arms into the weights here, my legs in a little bit of turnout, and I want to cross around and up, crossing the midline and coming around and up. Of course, that strap is really going to help you to keep that leg in the right plane and space, and then go the other direction. Or if you have bands where you could just put the band around the bottom of your foot and hold it with your hands, you can also do that to help you traction those legs. 1 more. And then on this side, I'll just do it without the strap. So if you're following along on the mat and you don't have the bands, you would just lift your leg up, keep those arms low, cross the midline. Same precision, right? We still want to try to keep the pelvis nice and quiet and not let the shoulders rock and roll. 2 more. And 1 more. Good. And then go the other way. I'm pushing into my hand weights here. 2 and 1. Nice job. Pull in, give yourself a little hug. Now, if you have your hand weights, we're going to move to the stomach series, one of the hallmarks of the Pilates system. On the mat, you can use your arm weights out here, and you can do the single leg stretch with the arm weights here. Or if you don't have the arm weights and you just want to pull in, you can pull in this way. I am going to use my straps, and I'm going to go through the entire stomach series using my strap here. So this would be the way that it would look if we were on the reformer here. Reach your arms out, rise back up to your shoulder points. I'm going to extend my left leg, pull my right leg in, and then I'm going to start to switch and reach my arms and my legs away from that midline, getting a little stretch and a little activation. 2 more and 1. Double leg stretch. Arms go over, legs go out, and then we circle around. Your neck is tired, put it down, do a couple with your head down, and then come back up. And then single straight leg stretch. Keep reaching. I'm reaching through my arms, trying to stretch the back of my arm as I stretch my legs. 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then my legs go to the ceiling. Now you can do these, the double straight leg lowering and lifting, with 1 leg at a time or with both legs. So the option would be just to lower 1 leg and then exhale, bring it back. Inhale, exhale, bring it back, or both legs and exhale. So whatever option you choose, make sure that you're not letting your back pop off of the mat. You're trying to keep those ribs wrapped in and work with as much control as possible. No way is the wrong way as long as you're moving. Pull in, give yourself a little hug. Then we go to crisscross. I'm going to bring my head up, bring my hands behind my head. I'm going to try to bring my elbow to the inside of the opposite knee and touch the other elbow to the floor. So I'm working, coming forward and rotating along the axis of my spine, not rocking side to side. Nice job. And then pull that in, give yourself a little hug. The next exercises I'm going to do are frogs and leg circles. So if you don't have a band, you're going to probably want to do these one at a time. Our frogs are pressing one leg out and then the other leg out. If you have those straps, you're going to put your feet in the straps. We're going to pretend like we have our reformer. We want to make sure that I'm staying in the middle here. My arms are on the mat, my heels are together, my knees are not pulled in too far, my pelvis is back in neutral, and I want to press out and pull that in. Of course, there's always something else that we can be doing with the arms. So you have those hand weights nearby, and you want to add a little bicep curl. You can certainly do that if you're following along on the mat without the bands, and you want to just do one leg at a time while you're doing your bicep curls. That's a nice option too. I'm going to press my arms out here. I'm going to push into my weights. I'm going to lengthen my legs out and go to my leg circles. Now here's where you also might want to do just a single leg circle at a time. You can certainly do both, and it would be a really good advancement to do both as long as you're keeping that pelvis in a nice neutral position, not allowing it to rock and roll. I'm trying to keep my shoulders down and back without creating tension, and then go the other way. Inhale, exhale, around and up. This feels really good after being sort of sedentary, not acting quite as much as we usually do when we're at the gym. I don't have a gym in my house, so these are my options. 2 and 1. Now there's always a couple more little leg things that we can do here. If you're doing these without the straps, I advise you to just not go quite as low. I'm going to rise up to my shoulders here. This would be work that we would do on the Cadillac end, and I'm just going to start to go over and under a little bit. It's always fine to put your hands behind your head here. So if you want to do that, that's fine too. And now I'm going to go down 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and up 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Trying to keep my pelvis and my shoulders nice and quiet. This works the back of the leg. And if you don't have the bands, you're probably not going to want to do quite as many of these because you'll really start to get into your hip flexors, and that's not what we want. Last one. And up, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Good. Head down. I'm going to bring my hands in. We're going to go to coordination. I'm going to move my hand weights out of the way here. Coordination is an exercise that you can do on the mat or on the reformer. If you have your hand weights, grab them now. You're going to bring your elbows here, come up to 90 degrees, and when you inhale, we reach everything out. Open, close. Bring the knees in and bring the arms in. Reach, open, close. Knees, arms, reach, open, close. Knees, arms, 2 more. Reach, open, close. And then 1 more. And arms. Nice job. I'm going to go to what's called overhead. The mat rollover, actually maybe I'll demonstrate that first. It's a typical exercise that you would see on the mat. And it's basically the opposite of spine stretch forward. So if you're doing that mat rollover, you want to press your arms into your hand weights if you have them, or just into the floor. I'm wrapped in my Pilates stance here. I'm going to lower my legs out to about 45 degrees. I'm going to roll up and over, open my legs, and roll through, bringing them together, up and over, open, and roll through, up and over, and open, and roll through. And you don't need weights or straps or anything to do this exercise. Inhale, open, bring them together, and then roll it through, and then 1 more time, up and over, and then roll it through. Bend your knees here, just as a little stretch. If you're following along and you have a reformer, it's your lucky day. If you don't, press your feet into the mat. I'm just going to do a bridge. So I'm going to lift my hips up. This is just a counter stretch. I'm not doing a full arching bridge. I'm just lifting my pelvis up to its nice neutral position here, and then lowering back down to the mat. This is sort of a counter stretch for the front of the hip. Lift with an inhale, lower with an exhale. 2 more. Lift with an inhale. Lower with an exhale. Maybe one more. Lift with an inhale. And lower with an exhale. All right, I'm going to do an advancement that we call overhead. Overhead is the big rollover. It would be the jackknife on the mat, the rollover, the jackknife. But when we have our little bands here on the reformer, it's just called overhead. Reaching my arms out, I'm going to pull my legs up. I'm going to start here at 90 degrees. I'm going to lower my legs out again, 45 degrees, roll up and over, pike up, and then roll down. And as I roll down, I lift my arms and I lower my legs. Press to the mat, roll over and up, and then lower the legs as you lift the arms. Press over and up, and then lower the legs as you lift the arms. Two more. Feels really good. It's a really nice stretch for the back. Certainly an advancement. Up and over, and then roll it through. Nice job. Okay, flipping over. I want to do some extension exercises, so I'm going to come down onto my tummy. Now in the mat, we would come to what we call swan. So I'll give you a swan prep here. We're going to start with our hands by our shoulders. My heels are together. My legs are not lifted. They're just on the floor here. And I'm not creating intentional extension in my spine here. I just want to inhale, and I want to just lift my chest a little bit to sort of give my back a moment to feel like, oh, how does that feel? Does it feel okay? I'm inhaling, using my waistband, pulling my belly up. I'm not using my hands. I'm just lifting. I'm using the muscles of my spine and using my belly to support my back. More. Maybe we can make that a little bit bigger. So maybe you want to put your hands into the mat and just push up a little bit, right? That would be a more yoga movement, sort of pushing up into the beginnings of our upward facing dog. Right there. There we go. So we get a little bit of activation in the spine. Now a nice advancement without the extension, just to use the back. So take those hands out to your letter T. My face is just hovering above the mat here, so I'm already active in my shoulders and my back. I'm going to lift my legs a little bit. I'm going to lift those weights a little bit. I'm going to keep my palms facing the floor. And then I want to pull my pinky finger back as I lift my chest a little bit, and then lower back down. Inhale, lift and pull back, and then lower back down. I'm lifting from my bra line in the back of my neck. I'm not lifting my chin. Now we can take that to the straps. So if you have your straps, this would be our pulling straps movement. I'm going to go up here so I get a little bit more resistance. I'm going to keep my palms facing the floor. Inhale, pull back and lift. And then back around. Inhale, pull, lift through the chest. And bring it back. This feels really good. Most of the work we do is in the front body. It's difficult to get those back body exercises. One more. Of course, if this bothers your back, don't do it. And then my hands by my shoulders. I'm going to come up, I'm going to come forward, and we're going to do two exercises that you would see on the reformer, but they're modifiable, right? We can do them on the mat, the thigh stretch and the chest expansion. So if you're doing thigh stretch and you don't have the straps, that's okay. We're just going to come up to our kneeling position, and I'm going to start with my arms at shoulder height here. I want to make sure I'm not hyperextending my spine. I'm just keeping my pelvis in neutral. I'm keeping my eyes on the horizon. And I just want to start to float my hips and my shoulders back. And then come forward in the same plane in space. I'm not intentionally creating an arch in my back. And you're going to be very aware that your thighs are working very hard here to support you. It's a stretch, but it's certainly a lot of activation to pull yourself forward. One more. Now, if you have your bands, right, those bands are definitely going to help you. We bring those bands into the sternum and hold them here. So I'm activating my shoulder complex a little bit. Still neutral pelvis down here, eyes on the horizon. And then the same idea. You're just going to inhale as you float back and exhale to come forward. And these straps certainly help you. So if you need more help, you know, you can add a little bit, or you can create a little bit more help by just grabbing your straps a little bit lower down. One more time, inhaling and exhaling, and then chest expansion. So if you have your bands, your hands are going to come right to the side of your thighs here. I want to inhale, make sure I'm pulling my waistband in, push my arms back, look, back to center, and then let the arms come forward. Then try that again. Grow tall, look, back to center, and forward, press, look, back to center, and forward. If you have your hand weights, the same principle is going to apply here. We're just going to push those arms back to create an openness and expansion in the chest. Look, back to center. I'm inhaling, continuing to inhale as I look. And then one more time. Good. So the neck gets a little rotation there too. Nice job, guys. Okay. Let's finish with a side mermaid stretch. If you have your bands, I want you to bring your feet towards the band side. And I'll just do this on the one side so my back isn't away from you. You want to come out so that your knees are sort of stacked and that your hands can come above your head, and you're going to grip both of those straps, unless that's too heavy. I'm going to take my hand over here and I'm going to grip both of those straps. And I want to squeeze my sitting bones together. I want to try to stack my pelvis, and I want to inhale as I lengthen out away from the band, and then exhale to come up. So I'm trying to grow my spine tall. You don't have to go very far. I'm just going out as far as I can get my hips and my shoulders in the same plane. Inhale it out and exhale it back. One more time. Inhale it out and exhale it back. Now, if you're doing regular mermaid on the mat, you're going to grab your ankles here. You're going to take this arm up, and we're going to go the other direction. So we're going to side bend this way to get that nice stretch. And then I would reach my arms out. You can reach both arms out to activate that. Grab back in here again. Inhale, take it over. Rise up and reach. And then maybe one more time. Grab to get that big stretch. And up and then reach. Okay, I would do that on the other side, but I'm not going to turn my back towards you guys today. We're going to come up and we're going to do a little bit of balancing lunge work here. So if I was on the reformer, I'd have my foot against the shoulder block back here, and then my other foot would be either on the gray board or on the foot bar here. I'm going to use my straps here as just some little balancing tools. I'm going to lift myself up into this little lunge position, and I'm going to pull my arms back here, and then I'm just going to rise up, activating my arms and lower down. I'm going to do 8 of these, but if that's too many for you, you don't have to. Trying to keep my spine nice and long. Trying to keep my waistband in. The same idea as this chest expansion. Pressing those arms back. You can certainly have those hand weights in your hands there. Exhaling as I go down. Inhaling as I come up. One more. And then some balance work. I'm going to lean forward and I'm going to lift my leg here. If that's too much for you and you need to hold on to a chair or something in front of you, you can. I'm going to fold forward. Whoa, and I'll loosen it a little bit. And then I'm going to hold that for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring that right foot forward. Step the left foot back. Get yourself lined up again. push into that back toe, and then inhale, lift and lower. So many things we can do with these bands, right? Using them in so many different ways. Keep activating the back of those arms. Keep the chest open. Crown of the head reaching to the ceiling. 2 more. I hope you guys all missed me. I miss you guys. 1 more. And then fold forward. Let's try to balance a little bit on this side. I'm going to inhale, lift that left leg, and hold that. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nice job. Okay, come to a seated position here. I'm going to turn around. This is called overhead and hug a tree. These again are exercises that we typically do on the reformer, but you can certainly do them with your hand weights. So if you have your hand weights, I'm going to start in a little bit of a Pilates stance here. If it's okay for your knees to cross and to sit in this position, that's ideal. But if that's not working for your knees, you can have your legs out straight ahead of you, or you can come into that little Pilates stance. If you have your hand weights, your weights will come together, and you want to bring those weights just behind your head, just at the crown of your head here. I'm leaning ever so slightly forward here, and with my hand weights, I'm just going to reach out and pull the arms back. Inhaling out and exhaling back. Not going straight up, I'm reaching out sort of on an angle. So I'm reaching my arms out, and as I reach my arms out, I'm also pushing my knees, squeezing my sitting bones, and pushing my legs down. Now, if you have your straps, which I also happen to have, we can do the same thing here. I'm going to inhale, press out, and pull back. Inhale it out, exhale it back. This is a little bit more harder. These straps are trying to pull me backwards. So it's my job, and I'm not doing a very good job at it, to try to stay seated while I'm doing that. Now for hug a tree, we want to sit up as tall as possible and pull the arms towards the midline and then open. Oh, and I forgot to change my legs there. So for those of you who know me, you know, I always need my clients to help me remember what I'm supposed to do. They read my mind for me. Exhale together. Inhale, open. Exhale together. Inhale, open. Trying to keep that spine really lifted. And then change your breathing. Inhale it together. And exhale. And then 1 more. Same principle would apply, right? If you had your hand weights here, then you're doing the same thing. You're just breathing, bringing those together, and then open. Of course, this becomes more of a deltoid exercise, top of the shoulder exercise with those hand weights. So make sure that you're keeping your shoulders down, away from your ears. Good. 1 more time. Nice job. Okay, we're going to end with some bridging and some leg lifts. So roll back onto your back. I'm going to use my hamstrings here again, but you don't have to. If you want to use those hand weights, you can use those hand weights. I'm going to slide down a little bit just to get a little bit more activation in the back of my arm. All right, my knees and my feet are squeezing together in one piece, so I feel like I'm really just have one big leg down there. Reach those arms out, and I'm going to stay just off of the mat so that it's a little bit more difficult for me to balance. I don't have my arms down here. I'm using the straps instead, but you can certainly put your arms into the mat here. My wrists are also long. I'm not letting my hands cock in. I'm trying to get my wrists really long here. I'm going to bridge up. Stay in that bridge position. Try to keep your pelvis nice and stable. Pull one knee in, reach to the ceiling, and then I want to tap the floor and lift. And I'm trying to keep that supporting leg in the midline there. This is a little hard because I don't have my arms on the mat. 2 and 1. And then pull that in. I'm going to lower my pelvis down, and I hope I didn't cheat. I'm just going to do a couple of tricep presses here. And then press out again. Inhale, bridge up. Try to keep your pelvis nice and square. Try not to dip down on one side or the other. We typically dip on one side. I know I dip on my right side, so I'm going to try really hard to keep that hip up.
pull this knee in, lift, and then reach. Reach, keep reaching those arms long. Keep pulling that supporting leg towards the midline. And then in we go and down. Oh my goodness. All right, well guys, I'm gonna pull in, give myself a little hug, grab behind my knees, and roll side to side. Nice job.
I miss seeing all of you guys, and hopefully you're all doing well and we'll be able to reconvene really soon. I've also have a newfound appreciation for all of these people who are doing videos, because it's taken me about 20 videos to try to get this one right. So I hope to see you guys all soon. Love ya.